We have the Houston Texans taking on the New York Jets in New York. This is your Week 9 2024 prediction and preview video. Hit subscribe if you're new. Also hit the like button. Let's start off with the home team, the New York Jets. This team is on a 5-game losing streak, and the New York Jets have to rack up some wins if they want to make the NFL playoffs. When you look at what happened last week, it was just a brutal loss that they suffered against the New England Patriots. They lost this game 22-25, and on the day, Aaron Rodgers was solid. 17 of 28, 233 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns, got sacked once, 0 interceptions. In this game against the Houston Texans, the offensive line has to step up. And I'm talking about the 2 tackles in this situation, Morgan Moses and Tyron Smith. They're both veteran tackles. They have been up and down this season. They're going against Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter, one of the best pass rushing duos in the NFL. You have to protect Aaron Rodgers, and you have to get the run game going with Ty Downing. Ty Downing is now the main offensive play caller. They gave him play calling duties, and his first game calling plays with the Jets was against the Buffalo Bills. And since then, Breece Hall has looked good. He did have an off game against the Steelers, but they have been able to get that run game going. And this game against the Houston Texans, you don't want to go out there and just pass the football all day to Garrett Wilson and to Devontae Adams. On paper, that sounds like a great thing in theory. But when you look at the defense of the Houston Texans, they have the 3rd best passing defense in the NFL. You want to run the football, and their rushing defense is solid, but it's 13th in the NFL. Run the football with Breece Hall and work off of play action. Aaron Rodgers is not the same quarterback that he once was with the Green Bay Packers, but he has still been a good quarterback this season. Yes, he had a lot of interceptions against the Minnesota Vikings, but not every interception is created equal. Look at what happened in the game against the Steelers. His first interception to Benny Bishop, that was just a crazy play by the safety. The second interception, it bounced off the shoulder of Garrett Wilson. They have to catch the football in this game and maximize their opportunities on the defensive end. The offense has to go out there and get clicking early in this game, because if you don't, you're going to be in some trouble. But it's going to come down to the offensive line, and can they run the football enough to alleviate that pressure off of Aaron Rodgers as well. And I look at this to be the game for Garrett Wilson. We know that Devontae Adams is still one of the best wide receivers in the NFL talent-wise, and he's still figuring things out right now with the New York Jets. He's still figuring out this system. Go out there, feed Garrett Wilson, get Devontae Adams involved as well, but work off of that run game. I think the New York Jets, they have a good chance of winning this game. And Braylon Allen had a rushing touchdown last week as well. Since Ty Downing has become the offensive play caller, Braylon Allen hasn't been able to do much. When Nathaniel Hackett was the offensive play caller, Braylon Allen looked like the better running back. Get him involved in this game as well. And Braylon Allen can be a very good red zone target for Aaron Rodgers. And be on lookout for Tyler Conklin in this game. He had 42 receiving yards last week and a receiving touchdown. Garrett Wilson, 113 receiving yards last week, and Devontae Adams, 54 receiving yards as well. But be on lookout for the tight ends to go out there and make a huge impact in this game, because Allen Lazard is out dealing with a chest injury. When I look at the defense for the New York Jets, we're talking about the 2nd best pass defense in the NFL. They're right there with the Houston Texans in that department. The problem with the Jets defense, they have been able to stop the run. And I'm looking at Coach Brick right here, who is the interim head coach, former defensive coordinator with the team. He's still going out there and calling defensive plays. You have to stop the run and play press man coverage. The Houston Texans, they're without Nico Collins. They're without Stephon Diggs. Ahmad Sauce-Gardner should be able to eat in this game. Play that press man coverage against the hurt wide receivers of the Houston Texans, because they're limited right now. Besides Tank Dell, they have a lot of question marks in that wide receiving room. So go out there and be physical at the line of scrimmage, and you have to stop Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon, when he has been healthy this season, he's one of the better running backs in the NFL. And I look at the defensive line for the New York Jets. Will McDonald, he's questionable to play in this game, but he's on pace to play in this game. 8 sacks on the season, 2 forced fumbles. Quinn Williams, one of the best defensive tackles in the NFL. He has to get going in this game. And Hassan Reddick as well. The reason why the defensive line should have a huge impact in this game against the Houston Texans offensive line has been very inconsistent this season. And the one main constant with the New York Jets defense, besides their passing defense, they have been able to put a lot of pressure on the opposing quarterback with Will McDonald. He is 2nd in the NFL in sacks. He has to go out there and have a big game. And the same with Quinn Williams as well. Put that pressure on CJ, and hopefully the guys in the secondary can go out there and do their things as well. Be on lookout for CJ Mosley, who is questionable for this game, but they also have Quincy Williams as well, who is a solid tackling linebacker. I like the New York Jets in this matchup. due to the injuries with the Houston Texans. But at the same time, they have to go out there and they have to figure out their offense, and they had to figure out the rushing defense as well. Now let's talk about the Houston Texans. This team last week came off a close win against the Indianapolis Colts. They won the game 23-20. CJ on the day, 25-37, 285 passing yards, 1 passing touchdown, 0 interceptions. Joe Mixon, 102 rushing yards, 1 rushing touchdown. Like I mentioned before, they're still without Nico Collins. He's still recovering from that hamstring injury that he suffered many weeks ago. Stephon Diggs, non-contact play. It was reported today that he tore his ACL. He's out for the rest of the season. That sucks, and I wish him nothing but the best moving forward. My prayers are with him. With that being said, Bobby Slowick has to get creative in this game plan. Now, we have seen CJ go out there and elevate wide receivers to the next level. Look at Nico Collins before CJ joined the Houston Texans, before he drafted the Houston Texans. See, Nico Collins was just an average wide receiver. CJ comes in, he's one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. They still have Tank Dell, who has been up and down this season. Last week, Stephon Diggs led this team in receiving yards, 81 receiving yards. Dalton Schultz, 52 receiving yards. Tank Dell, 35 receiving yards, 1 receiving touchdown. They have John Mechie as well, who went out there and had a strong preseason, and in college was a monster. Expect for John Mechie to get a lot of looks in this game. He is a slept-on wide receiver. I think that he can go in and he can have a day against the secondary of the New York Jets because there's not much film on him. Be on lookout for him in this game. But they have to get the run game going. They have to run the football against this Jets team. And you have to run as much as possible. Run the football with Joe Mixon. Run the football with the backups as well. And feed off of that run game. Because CJ, he can go out there against some of the best defenses in the NFL, and he can give you a lot of good production. And use Joe Mixon in the receiving game as well. Dalton Schultz in short situations, similar to what he was able to do last year. He had a big year last year. This year, not so much. Use him in those 2nd and 5. 3rd and 3s if you want to pass the football in those situations. But John Mechie, that has to be the guy to go out there and be the game changer, because I can see a Sauce Gardner being in one-on-one situations with Tank Dell. And I would not use Tank Dell as a huge deep threat in this game. That's what the New York Jets want. They have picked off a lot of quarterbacks this season by doing that. You want to go out there and beat this team underneath and force them to try to stack the box to stop the run game. Then you can take the occasional deep shots down the field with Tank Dell. But I think what CJ has been able to do this season has been very phenomenal. He's been able to go out there and navigate in the right situations even when the run game hasn't been there. But the fact that they still have Joe Mixon, the fact that they have Tank Dell and John Mechie with Dalton Schultz, it gives Bobby Slowick enough to work with for this week right here while they're still waiting on the return of Nico Collins. They can still go out there and put up enough points to beat this Jets team, but it's going to come down to the offensive line protection and can they run the football enough against the defense of the New York Jets. The New York Jets have struggled to stop the run for a couple weeks now. They struggled against the Buffalo Bills. They struggled against the Steelers as well. Last week, not as much, but you saw what Jacoby Brissett was able to do. In those short type of downs, you can beat this team underneath. So that's what Bobby Slowick's going to have to do in this game. It's not going to be easy because the New York Jets have one of the best passing defenses in the NFL, but run this offense through Joe Mixon, and I think you'll be okay. When I look at the defense for the Houston Texans, put that pressure on Aaron Rodgers. He doesn't have the same speed and mobility that he once had when he was with the Green Bay Packers. He can still make those crazy throws from outside the pocket. Just because Aaron Rodgers' numbers don't look good, I'm telling you guys, a lot of the interceptions are not his fault. But I can see DeMeco Ryans going out there and playing a lot of the sky coverage against Aaron Rodgers. And that is something the Minnesota Vikings did. I will not blitz much in this game because I have a lot of faith in Will Anderson and also with Danielle Hunter as well. They can go back there and they can really dictate this game. Look at what they did last week against Anthony Richardson. And I do understand that it's Anthony Richardson, but they sacked him 5 times. The New York Jets offensive line has been very inconsistent this season. And Will Anderson is one of the best pass rushers in the NFL. You have Danielle Hunter as well. Both of those guys are coming off the edge. They can put a lot of pressure on Aaron Rodgers. They can make him uncomfortable. That is what you want to do. And I'm looking at the secondary. Derek Stingley Jr., one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL. But who are you going to match him up with? Are you going to match him up with Garrett Wilson? Or are you going to match him up with Devontae Adams? Aaron Rodgers likes to get rid of the football as quick as possible. So you can play that press man coverage. But at the same time, you can do what the Steelers did. They did a lot of off coverage, and they were just relying on their front 7 to go back there and put a lot of pressure on Aaron Rodgers. And that's something what the Patriots did last week as well. You can play that off coverage for like 5 yards and try to dictate on what Devontae Adams and what Garrett Wilson are going to do, but be careful with doing that because those are two smooth route runners. I have a lot of belief and a lot of faith in Derek Stingley Jr. going out there and having a good game, but this is going to be a huge, and when I say a huge assignment, this is going to be a huge assignment for Kamari Lassner as well, who is a rookie. He's been up and down this season. Pay attention to who he's going to be guarding on the opposite side in terms of Garrett Wilson or Devontae Adams. And when you're looking at a guy like Kalen Bullock at the strong safety position, has been a very good safety this season. 3 interceptions, 5 pass deflections. He's been one of the better young safeties in the NFL this season. Jimmy Ward is questionable for this game, but they have Jalen Petrie who can play safety. He can play nickel corner. He's all over the secondary. I think the Houston Texans have enough to go out there and defeat the New York Jets. With that being said, even with the injuries that they have, I am taking the Houston Texans to win this game, but I'm taking the Houston Texans to win this game by a field goal. I have the Houston Texans winning this matchup 23-20. But let me know in the comment section below, who do you have winning this game, the New York Jets or the Houston Texans? If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you like the video, hit the like button. Most importantly, I want each and every last one of you guys stay safe, stay positive. Thanks for watching the video, guys. God bless. Peace.